Okay. Let's start with celebrations. Second grade team. A wonderful, wonderful second grade team.
Mom just finally bought me my privacy folders.
Yeah.
That has
I've been
been
begging for those all year because the ones I have are garbage.
They make such a big difference. I'm about to order some for testing because it's a necessity, I feel.
Now I think I need paper clips. That's why I need the big plastic black one. And
Oh,
that
yeah.
way I can just stick it in the middle and just.
Oh, nice.
I saw it on TikTok.
They teach you a lot.
I've seen on TikTok.
So I have this student
Yes, ma'am.
who has not really been incentivized by anything this year. And this week, I don't know if it was just that shift of like, you know, we're deep prioritizing Zern online, so we're focusing on the lessons and we're focusing on those iRating minutes. And so everyone is like almost everyone's like getting to their learning games this week because they did their minutes. And this one little student, and he actually tried. He actually got 33 minutes of iReady in this week, which is probably the most minutes like from all the other weeks up till now combined. And he was so distraught at the end of the day today when he didn't have his 33 minutes, and we had this little heart to heart, and you know, he was sobbing, but you know, he stayed calm, and you know who I'm talking about. But like we had a nice chat, and I was like, my heart hurts. Part of me just wants to say, you work so hard. I would love to, you know, say go ahead and do that. But I also want you to know that you can do it. You can do this all next week. You can start from the beginning and earn. Anyway, so it was just, it's too soon to call it a breakthrough, but I'm actually more optimistic about him actually caring about his work than I have been all year. So that is my big celebration, is he might actually be caring about his work.
That's amazing. Yes. That makes my heart happy for you.
Thank you. Uh-oh. Somebody's getting it already.
Yeah, Mom's getting some paper towels for us. We're just talking celebrations. Also, if you just walked in, I'm recording. It's not going anywhere other than for my personal growth reasons, but just so you know, just for the first little chunk of time here. Lucretia got privacy shields from a parent finally, yay. And Suzanne was celebrating one of her special friends that was very calm, and it felt like a breakthrough that he did not meet his iReady goal, but was able to cope with that.
Yes.
And not lose his mind.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes. Me too.
And that's something to celebrate, even if he didn't lose minutes.
Yes.
One thing at a time. Who else? What other things can we celebrate?
I have a student with a big work avoidance issue that did finish iReady minutes this week. So that's a celebration.
All right.
He finished his iReady minutes, is that what you said?
Yes.
Yay! I love all this iReady talk, it's music to my ears.
We heard you.
Grant, come on.
Yep.
Oh, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I'm good, thank you so much. Yeah, I got it
One of my
covered.
students who always avoid to complete his exit ticket and those things, like he showed me all of his exit tickets. Probably you know him. And yeah, so he did finish all his work. This like he really worked hard. I love his work. Like the way he was putting his efforts. I'm impressed.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so glad for all these math celebrations.
Yeah, and just like kids that never want to do work and don't show you what they can do, that are actually showing you they can do it.
Yes.
I love that.
Same,
Yes.
like a few students were talking behind, and he was like, our teacher was really mean, being really strict with us. Because I was pausing them, okay, you are choosing now to play, so recess time, let's complete our work. So he did this week, and he was like, Mrs. Padya, I love you.
Oh.
Because he got his extra, like, free.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love you
Incentives
too.
work.
Oh.
You're like, I love you and you complete your work too. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Matt, I don't think you were in here, but I have to record part of this meeting, so my phone's in the back recording, just so you know.
Oh, okay, great.
Just part of it.
Hi.
What other things can we celebrate? The weather's gonna get better after today.
Yeah, also very
I thought it's supposed to rain tomorrow.
Actually, the rain is fine as long it's not like this dry, cold,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I can.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's warming up this weekend, so
thank goodness.
Sunday I think is gonna be.
Yes, it is. Anything else? All right. I think that's everybody. And then hopefully Sterling will be able to join us in a little bit. She has a staffing. Okay, so yay, data dive time. I know you guys were able to have a data dive last week, hopefully. Did we get to do that? No?
You know, we had the
Yeah, that
special
meeting.
breaking news meeting last week.
Ah, that is true. That is true. Breaking news meeting, I love that. It's a good thing to call it. Breaking news. Okay, so I know that data dives are something that have not been super frequent and consistent for our team because there have been a lot of changes and moving parts, and just getting to everything has been our goal, and you guys have literally changed the world with how your team is functioning. Ashley has been amazing. We're so grateful that she's here.
I like that.
It might not feel amazing in the classroom all the time, but they love you, and we're so glad that you're here.
They are so calm with you. They are so calm. Like, I notice the difference in how they are acting in the room.
And so there is a lot to celebrate and to be proud of as a team. So just acknowledge that you guys have come a very long way, and you've lost people along the way, but it's working and we're getting somewhere. So since we're kind of getting back in the groove of data dives and starting to make them more consistent, I want to talk through what this piece of your PLC guide looks like very quickly, because I know that you guys have already seen it and we talked through it early on, but we haven't been able to use it a whole lot. So anybody wants to step up and put some of this information in while I'm talking through it, that would be fantastic. So maybe like the teaks from the assessment and like put in your names for me while I'm chatting through would be fantastic. Anyone? Oh, I think Lucretia wants to do it. Thanks, Lucretia. Okay, so this is for after an assessment that you give. It could be a formative or a summative assessment, and then we come together as a team and we look at how the kiddos did on the assessment, and we use the data from the assessment to guide our instruction as a team. And along the way, we talk about what strategies we used that worked and strategies we used that didn't work. Any misconceptions that students had, different things that we had to do to accommodate certain students. I know that a lot of us have kiddos that have lots of accommodations and need a lot of support along the way, and that's a common thread among probably all of your classrooms. So that's something that we can also share ideas about as well. When you guys do this, down at the bottom, this little blue drop down thing, there's a formative and a summative. And so it changes when you switch it, because with a formative assessment, you're thinking through like reteaching and reassessing plans. And then if you need to create an acceleration plan for it, if it's something that's kind of formative and throughout your teaching. And then summative is like a conclusion to your unit, if you will. And so that's something that we're deciding, okay, we're moving on to a new unit, but is this something that we need to spiral back to later? Or is it something that we're going to flex with in the later weeks? So if you guys agree, I feel like with this mid-mission assessment, formative feels like the right place because we're still in the midst of the unit. Does that feel good?
Yes.
Okay. So what I need is for y'all to have your scores for your assessments in here. And so before, again, when this gets more routine and consistent for you guys, this stuff will be filled in before the meeting. And so I know you guys gave the mid-mission on Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on who you are. And so Ideally, these would all be filled out beforehand so that we could look at the patterns of how kids did. Has everybody given the mid-mission assessment?
Yes.
Ashley, did you get to give it to your kiddos?
You know, I don't know all of these things, but I don't know all of these things by names. So
That's you're like, I might have, that's okay.
so that copy.
It was
Oh,
this-
you printed it for me? Yes, I did that. I did that.
Perfect, okay. If you don't have them with you right now, will you go grab them if you can? And then if you haven't graded them, we're also gonna take some time to just align and get them graded so that we can input the data in here. If you already have yours scored on the mastery scale, like the 1 to 4 scale, you can put your scores in. So number of students that master assessment. So if I am Miss McGill and I have 10 students out of my 18 that mastered, I'm just gonna put a 10 there. And then the number of students that took the assessment, if she has 18 kids and they were all there for it, she'd put 18. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so what would constitute mastery? Getting a 3
That's a
or?
great question. Yes,
Yeah.
a 3 would be mastery.
Yeah, okay, or what about a 2.5?
2.5 wouldn't quite be mastery.
Okay, so then, alright, so that's like 4
How
then.
many questions should we write for?
With this many corrects.
That's
12 questions total.
Okay,
He's really, he's really on his way.
so let me pull up the assessment.
1, 2,
Yeah, yeah.
3.
Oh, yeah.
So it was 3 pages, I believe? 4 pages.
Yeah, 4 pages, 12 questions.
Okay, so this first page, they had to use a written strategy to solve the problem. So they would get full credit for each one if they solved the problem correctly and used a written strategy. Would you guys agree?
Yes.
So if they just put an answer, do they get full credit?
No.
I
There you go.
have
Yeah, I see that.
a concern kind of.
Yeah.
I was checking the work plan, I saw some of my students, like 1 or 2. They did put the place value list there, but instead of writing the numbers, even though I'm teaching them, but sometimes because of they are not under any, like, evaluation thing or something, but then again, I heard that someone has ADHD or something, so he just forget the thing. He put the things there, but didn't write any numbers, so I can see that he tried to use the place value list,
Yeah.
but no number is there, so what should
So
I
no
do?
answer is there?
Answer is there,
The answer is there.
answer is there, answer is correct.
Do you have it with you?
Yeah.
Can I see it? So I think it just depends.
Most of my kids, they use the way that we practice the most. I had a few
Yeah.
that did the novice way, like the arrow way,
Yeah.
but they pretty much did whatever, I gave them the option to do whatever they were comfortable with, as long as they showed me the work, and they put the answer on the answer line. And if somebody got something wrong, I would say, you need to self-correct something, just take your packet. And I had 2 that had to do that, and it came back okay.
Okay.
So to me, that shows progress and.
That's perfect, yeah. And you mentioned before, like, self-correcting.
Yeah.
Like, if you're able to say, hey, take this and do X, Y, Z with it, and they get it, then that's perfect. Sorry. It's a necessity, I get it.
I'm starving.
Way to practice self-care.
Okay. So 220 plus 30.
That makes sense
Big
to
Papa
me.
burrito.
Yeah, this
Okay,
totally
that's what I wanted.
yeah, show Wester and
Okay.
have him confirm what I'm
Oh, okay,
thinking.
what's up?
So like,
Oh, place value discs. Yeah, 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 yeah.
written numbers are
Um,
not
I-
there, but the essence
On the
of that
bottom, if
makes
you go
sense.
find the tab that says 220
Oh,
on the
yeah.
data drive, all the way to the far right.
Yeah.
I think that's.
And I think the question is does this count as showing your work? I think it would. I think it would.
Alright.
Cause if they did this physically, I would count and came up with an answer. Yeah. That's cool. It shows a lot of hard work.
It does, it
Yeah.
does. Okay, so does everybody have their assessments?
Yes.
Okay, and then Ashley's digging up hers, and we don't have Sterling right now. So, first page, full credit for each point would be showing a strategy and giving the correct answer. Is there any misunderstandings there where like, oh, I don't know what score they should get, because this would be the time for us to be like, hey, like this X adjusted, does this count for full credit? They didn't give you the right answer, but they showed me work, like that would be half credit. Do we all feel good about that section?
So if they got close to the right answer and they didn't do the vertical form perfectly, but they're attempting the vertical form. So for A,
Uh-huh.
they, instead of getting 250, they got 248, and they did stack 220, and then 30 under it. And then, I don't know, they got 2 scribble something, and then they put 240. Is that any credit at all, like a half a credit or
I
a
would say
quarter of a
2,
credit?
yeah.
I would give it a 2.
You
Yeah,
give that
like
a
a
2?
2 out of 4, yeah,
Okay, so I could put 0.5 just for my notation purposes?
like half credit,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
whatever works for your brain.
thank you so much, that makes sense.
I know I was on the right track last night.
Oh, Ecto, you know one thing I noticed? Can you scroll back up? It says or chips on a place value chart.
There you go.
So that's what they showed us, those chips.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Alright, second page. Solve each by drawing a model of a place value chart with chips and using the vertical form. So they should show you both and have an answer. So this is kind of a 3-parter. And since it says and, they have to show both. So I feel like a full credit would have all 3 things.
And it is in case like the student has both like face value chart, vertical form, and answers are correct, but didn't write them on top of like next to where it should go.
Oh, I would count it if it's in that box anywhere as an
Yeah.
answer.
Oh, yeah, is that-
Yeah.
it's on the right
Finalized,
spot?
count
Because
it.
I did that too.
For
I
sure.
had a couple
Yeah.
that, like with the Esmeralda,
Yeah.
who surprised the snot out of me.
Is she the one that her parents bake and bring things? Oh my gosh, she gave every single person at the car line hot chocolate and donuts today.
Whoa!
And she
Oh.
was celebrating that she got the highest score on her test or something.
Wow.
Probably,
I
yeah.
don't know, like on a math
Okay.
test.
Today, this afternoon, yes.
I don't know. She was so sweet. And her
Yeah.
parents are lovely. Anyway, sorry.
Yes, I love her mom.
I didn't know whose class she was in.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, I didn't wanna interrupt.
But yeah, so, cause like I said, she surprised the snot out of me. She got a 3 all by herself. So what she did was I saw her work, which was why I kept emphasizing, like, I need to see your work. And then like somewhere in there, I'm like, oh, there's the answer, but she would copy it wrong on the thing. And so I circled the right answer, like your answer's right here, so that's why I counted it as being correct, so.
Yeah. That works. I love
So
it.
I'm looking at a student, looking at A. They attempted a place value chart, like the place value attempt is correct, but they got the wrong digits in the wrong places, and their vertical form was attempted but not correct. So there's an attempt to do all 3 parts, none of the parts were done correctly. Any credit, like a 25% credit, or just not so much.
What do your teenies think? What would you guys do for scoring purposes? All 3 pieces were attempted, but none of them were correct or fully correct.
If we're looking for strategy, then I would say you can give them a 0.5. If that's what we're looking for.
Like half credit.
Yeah.
Because he knows what the place value chart is, he knows what the
Knows what the-
vertical
yeah.
form is, he was trying to do it, he
Mhm.
just, so like the answer is 587, he got 677.
Right.
So the answer was off in the hundreds and the tens.
He knows the strategy, just doesn't know how to execute
Execute.
it properly.
More
Computation
practice
part.
and using it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine giving him half a point, I just wanted to make sure that wasn't
I
too
would
much.
agree, half credit. Yep.
Okay.
Do you guys feel?
Yeah, I would say yes.
Yeah. Okay. Great question.
Great
Any
answer.
other student questions on this one that we're not sure how to score them? Okay. Third page. This one they get to choose 2 written strategies such as tape diagram, number bond, arrow way, vertical form, or chips on a place value chart. So 2 strategies of their choosing, but there needs to be 2 in an answer. So this is the same credit value as the previous page, but it can be any of these strategies.
So at this point, 2 means 2. We are not looking for like, probably it's my bad too because the students, they were getting confused. So I told them like what you're using for one equation, like it has to be 2 strategies for
Yeah.
one. So this person, like place value and vertical for both. So 2 are there, but for both.
For both problems?
Yes.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, right? As long as they use 2 strategies,
Yeah,
like if it's the
choose
same
yes,
2,
yes.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Cause we want
That's
them
what I
to
told
use
them
the
too.
ones that they wanna use.
Because
That's
I
right.
Yes.
want them to just like make
Have
sure
a nosy.
you know the addition
What you
and
want?
subtraction, not
This?
not make yourself confused with so many things at one
Yeah.
time.
No, that's perfect. We, ideally, I remember one thing I did, I think it was here, in this classroom, when I taught 2nd or 3rd grade, was when I did like a, almost like this, like a vertical chart, but these were all different, like, computation strategies. And then once I had taught them all, I would add it to the chart, so like this was like standard algorithm, and then this was place value, whatever. We had them all after we taught them all, and then they all got like a clip or a something sticker, I don't remember, and they put it on the one that they preferred or that they liked the best or whatever, and then it was cool to see it change every time we learned one. They're like, ooh, I like that one better, or some people hated it and didn't move, and just an idea. It was really fun. They liked it.
Another question.
Yes.
Could you scroll forward to letter D? It's a subtraction problem. I had more than one student add them. Got the correct answer, but added instead of subtracted. Thoughts from the team?
I'll just run that in with your addition. Like if you've got a kid that's you're thinking is borderline 2 or 3 on addition, and that you can add that into that sort of your thinking. So all right, they did another one right in it for addition,
Yeah,
but you couldn't count it for a subtraction.
I agree. Like it's knowledge for yourself to be like, well, they definitely have the addition part down, great. But I think it's the
missed
same
the-
as missing,
Got
same as
it.
your other situation where if they did the 2 strategies, that's great,
And
but the answers weren't.
And that's something
Yeah.
that's really key for them. You know, if you've got a list of kids, and that would be one of my expectations before this test, that they are going to do that. And as a teacher, I would definitely note down those students that have done that, and you're teaching them the strategy of here's an orange crayon, here's a green crayon. Every time you're doing an assessment like this, you are doing the minus in green.
Before you solve,
Before you
go
even go through the
through
whole
and circle all
paper.
your symbols.
And which one do you like? Do you like adding? Right, green all the adds. Go, which one do you not like? You don't like subtracting or as much? Okay, then highlight that the sign, and you just teach it. And you don't need to do. It's not bad for all the class to do that, but if you've got 3 or 4 kids, you just pull them, and it's an easy right. We're not doing that again.
I'm typing this right
Yeah.
as you.
That problem's not going to come up again. You know.
Oh, it's going to
and
come up
if
again.
it does come again, you're going, did you highlight? No, and you've got to have some accountability to that, you know, that piece of, you didn't do that. Okay, here's another 3 pieces, and all I want you to do is you're going to go away, and in our choose time, you're going to highlight every one. And every time that happens, it's just that.
And
Because it's a silly
A high
one.
kid who rushes and doesn't want to do the strategies, just wants to solve it in his head.
Most kids, like,
And he's hitting that wall, right, of like, that's not always going to keep him as successful as he has been all the way through until now.
if they're not comfortable with subtraction, they are going to want to add every time because they feel they want to do what they feel happy about.
Yes.
So, you know, 9 times out of 10, they're going to think, I'm going to add this, I'm going to
Ooh,
add this.
big numbers, Adams.
They like it.
Yeah.
And I'll piggyback on that, David. I've had kids many times.
Be careful.
They think either addition or subtraction is a strategy, like you
Yeah.
have those 4 strategies.
Yep.
It's like, no, it's not a strategy.
Yeah.
You actually get a different answer. So sometimes just working through that, you can't always pick, you can pick your strategy, but you don't pick your operation.
Yes.
Right? You
Yes.
got an operation that fits.
It's always
Yes.
alarming
Yeah.
me how this floor is so porous.
Yeah.
What is it? Like a concrete, but it's just water can stain it. It's just wrong.
Okay, so as you guys mentioned, a couple of those things I added them. So there's a section for instructional strategies or accommodations that worked well or were not successful. So I added, what David said about the strategy of highlighting the math symbol for each problem before you begin so that they do the right computation. And then for misconceptions, I wrote adding even if it's a subtraction problem, and then, students thinking the operation itself is the strategy, which is frequent.
That is, I mean, this age group, that is really,
It's so normal,
it is so
unfortunately.
normal for this age group to do that. Cause they've spent all their lives adding, and like, ooh, now we're gonna subtract.
Wait, I gotta take stuff
Yeah,
away.
we're gonna do something different.
Yeah, mine's just had an issue with the figuring out what to do with their tens.
In terms of regrouping.
Tell me more.
Yeah, and it's easier when they have the place value chart, and I'm like, hey, we take a pie to our neighbor. We take we borrow sugar from our neighbor when we're subtracting. We take a pie to our neighbor when we're adding. But when it's in vertical form and they're just looking at the numbers, they're like what?
So place value chart, the place value chart is more suited to them right now than.
Well, at least for my class.
Yeah. One thing I find with my groups is I will,
Thank you, Michael.
well,
Thank you.
one strategy I go to in my groups is to look at every place value, and before they even start, I ask them, do you think this is gonna go over 9? Which column's gonna go over 9? Let's just look, where do you think you might need a regroup before you've even started? Where are you not gonna have enough? And have that, try and put that as part of a discussion, and you can do that as a whole group, like, okay, hands up, who thinks we're gonna need a regroup in the tens? Hands up, who's gonna regroup in the hundreds? Are we gonna need a regroup here, and have that, so that mindset before we even start, because they all wanna jump in, just get going, you know, of just, okay, where we possibly need a regroup.
Because other than that, I usually try to emphasize like their place value in vertical form. Like, so where do we start? Do we start in the hundreds? No. Do we start in the tens? No. We start in the ones. Yes, we start in the one spot. Make sure you start in the one spot, and then we'll add it. And I'm like, okay, so what do I do with my extra 10? Where does it go? I'm like, it goes to the 10 spot. Yes, it goes to the 10 spot. It doesn't go up here, it goes right here.
Yeah.
And you know, I learned last year, like, it's helpful to like change colors when you're doing stuff, and so that's what I'll do too. I'll change the color and say, this is this, and so now we're gonna do what? Add what? This, and this.
Yeah.
We're gonna add all 3 of them.
Using grid paper helps too, it's really lining
Totally.
to make sure that they carry it over, like put it in the right spot. Cause I know there's kids like, if it's like 532 plus or minus 12, then they'll put it in the hundreds and tens. So then, but with the grid paper, it's very clear, like, make sure they're in the right spot.
Maybe I should get some
I have a
grid
student
paper.
with a 504 who I think that could be really helpful for having the grid paper already there so he can just put the numbers in the boxes.
Yeah.
Because he really struggles just writing any strategy down. Like just getting the strategy even out to try to get to the answer is a struggle. So that grid paper could be a game changer, I hope, because that was one of the other things I wanted to bring up was significantly, like I want to watch him for dysgraphia and already has a 504 for significant ADHD, and I'm just not getting through. I'm working with him in small group, I'm working with him, like I'm providing, the word is escaping me, proximity during the test, and offering encouragement and try this strategy, maybe another and just, it's just not, he's not able to get there.
Good thing about that grid paper is they'll always have that as a support.
Yeah.
Even in 3rd, 4th, and 5th, they're gonna get, like on the start, they're gonna get grid paper.
Okay.
Every kid's gonna get grid paper, so.
That's what I was gonna
You know?
say too, cause 3rd grade, there's a 3rd grade teacher that I know right now is giving her class, it's like the star graph paper, which is just like typical graph paper, but she enlarges it, and the boxes are a lot bigger.
Sure.
When she's working with her kids, and I think that if we, as a 2nd grade team, almost made it a norm to start practicing using grid paper, just with bigger boxes, I think
Great.
that would be a benefit for every kid, not to mention our kiddos that
Well,
really do need
it'll
it.
actually be helpful, especially when we get to unit 6, because, or no, not 6.
Is it like area and perimeter or something?
When we get to 7, because 7 is basically doing data, and they can use that as
For their graphs and stuff.
Yeah.
Bars. Mhm.
For sure. I love that.
I have a question.
Yes.
If a student is working, showing strategy, because I know these are like the kids who can do the work but getting distracted easily. So answer is wrong, but the strategy is right, trying to show the work fully there. So are we giving some point to show the strategy there?
I would say yes, give some credit, and I also will go back to what Audrey said about giving it back to them and saying, I want you to take a look at this one again. Not giving them any guidance necessarily, but just saying, I want you to look at this question again. Will you grab that for Sterling? Sorry. She looks like she's struggling. Hi. I think giving them another shot at it, because if they can self-correct it, then that gets them full credit. But for now, I would just, yes, give partial credit.
Little team. Gotcha. Sure.
These are great conversations, you guys. I'm so happy that this is where we're at. Okay, we have lots of people grading papers right now, which is fantastic. Keep doing your thing. Any other, like, thinking about how you taught this material so far in this unit, what are some instructional things that you're doing that feel really good, or something that flopped and you're like, I did not do this right, or it didn't work for my kids, or highlights?
I
What are
forgot I
things
could
that-
use the whiteboard on there.
on this?
I forgot until today.
Oh.
And then like I went and I used it, and then they were like, "Oh."
It has grid paper on there too. And like there's a spot on there.
And you can play games on there where you can split the board in half so that two people can write on it at the same time, and you can do a little like, competition and whatever. Ashley,
I'm sorry, I said I was gonna be quiet. I wasn't gonna say nothing.
please don't be quiet.
Math is really hard for me. I think how's the best way to say this? I need more instructional things for me. I
Perfect.
can't explain something that I don't understand myself,
Yeah.
and I can't be interrupting everybody else. Like, can come teach them. Like, let me just bring my class in here. Y'all teaching the same thing, and
Yeah.
I
know what you mean.
can't. Not just tell me the answer, but I need to know. Like, they should be learning this. This is what we're trying to do, and this is what we want to get to. So I just always refer back to the way that I know.
What else could you do, right? Without
That's
knowing.
fine, and that's the point of including you in these meetings, is so that you get that information.
Okay. Also, to that point, I do know if somebody missed it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just making sure.
I know.
Just making sure.
Yeah. No, I know.
I was like, now everything else I can kind of fill in the blanks and wing it, but not this new age math, especially these arrows and stuff. That does not make sense
Do
to me.
you need the teacher's manual?